Hey everybody, welcome back to Trekyards. I'm Captain Foley.
And I am Commander Klingon. Welcome.
Today we are looking at something iconic, something glorious. We're taking a look at a Klingon bird of prey. But, you might ask, we've already done a whole episode on the Klingon bird of prey. Full Legends episode, if you will. Check it out, guys.
Now, I say in a surprise turn, I think both of us tried to avoid full scenes of next week's episode, because that's, But in the intro, the pre-title sequence for Lower Decks Episode 3, they just threw in a bird of prey and a Klingon. And it's again a situation where the Klingon looked like a Klingon, and the bird of prey looked like a bird of prey. And we are the ship guys, and we've got some comparison stuff here. And we just wanted to give it a gentle, quick talk, because for the most part, they've got all the tech canon stuff right. May this be their first misstep. Maybe, for the one shot it appears in. But what did you think when you saw this in the episode?
I thought it looked like a more advanced bird of prey. I mean, at first glance it does look very much the same, but if you actually look at it, there's some differences. You got more of a bulked out section with some windows at the bottom of the hull underneath the wings, and the wing cannons are definitely different. First glance, it was just great to see it. You got the classic pose that you always see this ship in, facing off against another ship, which is great.
Yep, and you can see here it was done in Star Trek 3, the famous one, and then it was also redone in TNG, and here it is in the third iteration of the show, which is definitely, I didn't even catch that, but then it's like, yeah, that's called a reference, but obviously to try to do a comparison, and yes, it's a little bit redundant, as I said to you off camera, that it's the same stock footage of the bird of prey. But for clarity's sake, top is Lower Decks, if you had to have me tell you that. The right-hand one is the Star Trek 3, and bottom is TNG. But in that very simple way, you can see how just the colour grading and the way the detail looks, same model shot, but treated slightly differently, actually creates slightly different effect. So it is identical, but also doesn't look identical necessarily. Obviously, one being massive feature film, one being quick, let's reuse.
Yeah, you can see, it's more red. More red in Star Trek 3, for sure. The red's been bopped up a bit.
Just the contrast in general is popular.
I don't know. I kind of like the way that the stance on the new one. I mean, the wing cannons do look different. It has a different feel. It's a little bit angled differently because you can see more of the neck.
But this is when people always do a disclaimer saying, "Oh, come on, guys, it's a cartoon. It'll be different." And then we'll counter say, yes, but cut to picture of disruptors where they're all identical, even down to proportions. And then cut to Space Dock, which is so absurdly close, it's unreal. So they take pride in correct proportions. If they wanted to make a correct bird of prey, they could. This is clearly them attempting not to make. Because in reality, in Star Trek 3, we see a Burrell-class scout bird of prey. In TNG, we see probably a Burrell-class scout bird of prey. The Pach. That Riker works on, And then later on we see bigger ones because miniatures then, and it becomes a cavort, and then there's your great bird and such. So, if they had replicated a bird of prey, that ship, that design would now be 180 years old, whatever. Would that have been better, or is this an intentional, as you implied earlier? It's new because would you want to see a 200-year-old design or not a 200-year-old design if this is right after Nemesis?
I'd like to see both. I love the fact that they would be using the old one, but I also love the fact that they maybe modified it and modernized it a little bit. That being said, as you said, it is an animation, it is a cartoon. It's kind of a distance, quick scene shot, so maybe not a lot of time was... It was just quickly doodled out by somebody for memory of what it would look like.
But it's definitely proportionally completely incorrect. I mean, if by memory, given this is also you're replicating a shot from these movies, you would have that shot on the second monitor just to set up the shot. So you would see a bird of prey in the right angle, and it's not the same proportions. Almost any of it is the same proportion.
I love the idea that it's a modernized bird of prey. I think that's great. It could be a bigger version as well. It's got more windows for sure.
Yeah,
Well,
kind
I mean,
of.
it's even got the parts at the top of the engineering hall lit up where they're not lit up
Yeah,
on the other one.
I'd say different windows rather than more different glows. At a certain point, I do think the thinner makes it look spindly. Now, obviously, that's the Enterprise J thing all over again. Some people hate on the J because it looks spindly, but if you actually put a ship in scale next to those nacelles, those pylons at their thinnest is still the size of the Enterprise B's saucer. So they're actually huge. It's just in proportion. But why make them thinner? The whole ship feels thinner and weaker. Bird of Prey feels expertly proportioned. So it feels less, but then again, like I say, more advanced, sleeker. So I'm kind of like of two minds there.
The spindly argument gets tired really quick, especially with the J, as you said. This one, like I said, it could be a bigger ship, although judging by the size of the window placement and stuff, it's hard to
I mean,
say.
we have no evidence either way, unfortunately. We can't really speak to scale.
We're breaking down a quick, like, 2 second scene in an animated opening, but I think that this merits the possibility that this is a newer version of the Bird of Prey, at least a new construction of an older design.
Well, yes,
And like I
it's a new
said,
ship,
a little bit more modernized, and I have no issues with that. The spindliness of it, I don't see a lot of spindliness shown here. I mean, the cannon mounts are a little bit more narrow and not as robust.
I guess
but
it's just the left wing looks razor thin. I know it's perspective, but I do a lot of visual effect work and doesn't feel right. It feels ungodly thin. I guess the cannons are that thin, but do you really want your wing to be the size of a gun barrel? That's how big they look, and clearly you don't want them as thin as a gun barrel. That said, I mean, if it was a bigger ship, like say the neck, which is obviously much thinner, much more, very different neck design. If that was say 2 decks, then the whole thing scales up quite nicely. But having known the Bird of Prey quite well as I do, to me it looks like it's missing the cloak ring. It's got a black detail there, but you would think the red would pop out more. So I think it's missing the cloak ring. And the bottom, it feels more like a sharp, knifed going in the middle, which I quite like more like a boat's sort of bottom. And definitely the way the wings, because there's shoulder blades, but they don't actually go up very far. These ones actually go beyond that by quite a bit, and it gives it a much more not hunchback, but more that feel. So it has all of the main proportions have been shifted to be a bit different, which is interesting.
Yeah, I just assume it's a different ship.
Yeah, it's a different ship.
It's different enough when we've seen the attention to detail that they do for other things, that maybe we'll see it again. Maybe we'll see this in another episode and kind of get better views of it. So
they clearly like the Klingons. I mean, the respect and the use of their tech has been extreme, and the fact they can just throw one in. I mean, we were obviously thinking, are we going to see the hero, the famous ships like the Enterprise D and whatever? But the fact is, we've seen a verbatim space dock and Bird of Prey, maybe slightly different, but we've seen these ships. We should not, and the Deredex and Borg Cube. We've seen lots of iconic ships because, well, yeah, there you go. There blows the argument out of the water. The Deredex was perfect. This is different.
Well, that being said, that's for an intro that you're going to see for every episode. So they might have spent more time on making it perfect than a quick off-the-cuff doodle.
But they also showed a Mek'leth in perfect detail for a single, for 4 frames. I mean,
but that's just a simple shape of a Mek'leth. It's a little bit different than a ship. So I have devil's advocate arguments for each, but yeah.
But yeah, it's I have faith in them there, and I think we might see. Well, we'll see more famous ships because we've already seen a ton. Well, I mean, what a great way to end the season. Kind of very Discovery aspect, like the E to show up, and Patrick Stewart in the final 2, and what a great way. Especially as in this episode specifically, the captain was given originally a incredibly important mission to Cardassia, which is well above what you'd assume the second contact ship's mission profile would be. And so she's not. This isn't the lowliest of ships. Also, that mission was swapped to someone else. Fair enough. But she was assigned it, and they were obviously said 2 weeks learning Cardassian. So therefore, it was a real assignment for a long time. And so yeah, maybe the meeting the flagship isn't as odd as you'd think. Having the 58th lowest class ship meeting the top. Well, maybe they're not quite as low as that. So yeah, I think we're in store for that sort of thing by the end. I think.
I really hope so. Yeah. So anyway, guys, what did you think of the Bird of Prey showing up?
And put in the comments, new design or oops, bit different. Their first like ooh, flub of a replicate design.
Here's where we see the comments. You idiots! It's a cartoon.
Well, we
We
already
like looking
addressed
at this
that,
kind
so
of stuff. Yep. I know. Anyway, guys, yeah, comment down below. Make sure you hit that like button. Share this video around where you can. Make sure you're subscribed to the channel and click the notification bell icon to all so you get notified every time we upload. We do constant lives. We do a lot of video breakdowns of the episodes and just talk about Trek, new Trek, old Trek, all kinds of Trek, everywhere Trek. So yeah.
wow. Good job. But if you want to support more excellent content and comedy like that, support us on Patreon if you can. Any amount each month does mount up, as you guys know. That's how we've been able to keep going for so many years, is because of Patreon. But the new way is to join the YouTube channel. If you've got an account obviously on YouTube, you can put some money each month based on selected tiers that you can see. That really helps us, like seriously. Or a one-time super chat donation on a live. Say hi, put a comment, question, thought. We will read them out. We have to. It's our purpose in super chats, lives, always. And obviously PayPal, one-time donation at trekyards@hotmail.com is the PayPal. Any amount is appreciated, goes towards the function of the show. And, we're going to want to do more content. And we're going to do this sort of extreme content. So if you want to support it, please do. And if not, just tune in next time and say hi.
Yeah. And until then, I'm Captain Foley.
Flying Conifers. Bye, guys.
Bye, everybody.